Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps, and it's Friday! So I have my Dogapalooza t-shirt on because it's big, festival and pep rally before the first home game and so forth today, and marching band gets to play. It's all a big fun time. So anyway, I thought for today's project, I would show you another version of a popular project that I showed you a week or so ago, which occurs to me is not sitting right here, so I'll have to grab that. But we are going to make over the photo book because one of the things I wanted to teach you about is how to take a project that you have a sample of and then change it up to do a different version so that it features different things, features a different stamp set, a different suite. And so the folding memory book that we're going to make over is going to do that today. And the stamp that we're going to use is the Butterfly Brilliance stamp, because one of the things about the photo book is that there's lots of pages to decorate, right? Like 8 or 9 pages to do. So Butterfly Brilliance is perfect because it lets you do a single stamp and then turn around and die cut it all in one swipe with the giant die that matches everything on the stamp set. So totally ideal for doing a project like this. So you'll get to see, you'll get to see that in action. And then I'm also going to give you a really awesome tip for making custom bling for your projects so that you have that lesson too, because if you don't have the color that you exactly want, there's a great way to make that. So stay tuned for that one. All right, you guys ready to get started? I'm gonna flip the camera down. Morning, hey Margie and Tanya. Another shot of my Dogapalooza shirt. Okay, so I have here the two pieces that you need to make this project. You need a 6 by 12 inch piece of cardstock or designer series paper. And then you also need a 10 by 10 inch piece of cardstock or designer series paper. So let me get clear the back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that cutting part because I know sometimes when you see it, it's a little bit easier to kind of get the whole idea for that. So let me pull some things up here. Okay, so as I pull this across, I'm gonna go ahead and open my trimmer here because I want to have the whole trimmer shown. Actually, let me pull it back across here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down to 10 inches. And I'm gonna give you a reminder to save these scraps because they're gonna come back in handy when you do your decor for this book. And then 10 inch here. Now, when I showed this the other day, I glossed over this part, but I'm gonna show it to you because it really makes life easy to kind of figure out this way. So trimmer has scoring blades and cutting blades. The darker one is like serious business, so it's the cutter. That's how I remember it. And then the lighter one is just the light touch, so scoring. So I'm gonna line this back up at 5 inches, and I'm gonna go ahead and just score here in the center. This paper is the beautifully penned free paper during Sale-a-bration, so don't miss out on that. I love the grayscale. And then I'm turning it 90 degrees, so I have a score line right here. And so what I'm gonna do is bring my blades in, and I'm going to score from the center point on. I know, can you guys see that? And then I'm gonna shift this down and I'm gonna cut from the top down to where I see that score line. And the trimmer conveniently has like a little notch there in the the runner there, the little blade piece. So you can see exactly where it's cutting to. So that is how we get our perfectly lined up pieces there. So you know it's gonna cut and score nice and clean as you go. Oh, we're not done scoring. So I'm gonna bring this back in and do a score on here. So I'm gonna score this not quite in half because I want that little 1/4 inch margin to give a good like split. So I'm gonna move it a little shy of 6 inches, so an 1/8 inch shy of 6 inches, and then I'm gonna move it an 1/8 inch beyond 6 inches and score again. So now when I fold here, I have that 1/4 inch binding that really looks, oh, if I can find it, where's the other score line? There it is. That 1/4 inch binding that really gives like a cool kind of professionally kind of look to this little cover, okay? So just like that. Now to do our binding, if you saw this project the other day, I used a cork binding for it. Today I'm going to not use cork binding. I'm going to go ahead and use a cardstock binding so that it matches nicely with our project. So here are the other pieces for our materials. So this is about 2.5 inches. Oh, yeah, 2 3/4, 3 inches. And I just did the same trick, scored in like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch on either side of the halfway point. And my tip for attaching this is that I love to use the multi-purpose liquid glue. And I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on each side, but not in the middle, because there's some flex to this book opening, and so you want to let it kind of free flex there. You just want to adhere at the edges. So I've kind of lined that up in there, and I'm going to pinch this for a second. I think maybe get a little bit further back in the binding. There you go. So basically an easy way to make kind of a book binding cover, okay? Now, let's talk about the fold on this. When you get ready to do your fold, if you want, you can just watch along in the video tutorial, but I'm going to make this to fit right inside. I'll set this aside for a minute. So this is going to be the inside of my paper, and this is going to be the out. So it's really simple. If you start at the top left and just go fold over, fold down, and then fold this last cover over to this side, then you have all your pieces ready to go, okay? Morning, Carol. And then we're gonna stick this inside. Now, on my other version, the one that's included with the monthly tutorials for orders during September, the autumn harvest one, I put an extra layer in here, but this one is just gonna be real simple. And honestly, you're gonna see why, because by the time we get this magenta color in, pop of magenta color in, we really don't need a lot of extra stuff going on. So it's pretty strong. All right, and then I just center that. Here's the score line, if you can't see. I just center that on the panel. So that is basically our photo inserts there to have available for your photos, okay? So let's talk about the decoration for this, and let's talk about the Stamparatus. So here is my Stamparatus. And I have a piece of paper underneath here. This is from the pad of like scratch paper that you can get with to go with your Stamparatus. And then I have my stamp mounted here. So this is one giant stamp. Help if you can see. One giant stamp that is with the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set. I guess it's a set, but it's a set of one. And the easiest way to go ahead and use this is to go ahead and ink it with your pad. I always hold my pad on the side. There's like little grippies here, and make sure that I get a good amount of ink. So I'm just gonna pick up and tap each time. You don't wanna drag these Stampin' Up! Pads because the firm foam in them is great, but it doesn't like to be dragged. So they're not indestructible. So treat your pads nicely and they'll last you for many, 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 many years. All right, and then I'm gonna take my paper, and I know where this is gonna stamp. So I'm gonna just slide it in here, a piece of basic white. I'm gonna make sure that my magnet here that's holding it is down below where the stamp's gonna come across. And I'm going to do this. Now, I'm standing up, you hear my chair squeak, because I always like to make sure that I get good pressure on there. So if you put your shoulders up above it, like you're, I don't know, doing CPR or something, then you know that you'll get a beautiful image. So there is that. All right, Tanya asked, can you do this without the Stamparatus? Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I just find it super handy for, because we're gonna stamp 3 times here. So there's our first one. You can definitely do without the Stamparatus. So there are some techniques that are like very Stamparatus like required, but this one is not. You could even do it without buying an extra clear block. Sometimes when I use a really big stamp, I showed this on the Knit Together stamp that I did last month with the penguins. I just left my stamp in the case and attached it here, and then just put my cardstock down on top of the stamp and, you know, run a block across to make sure that it attaches well, so, or that you get a good impression. All right, so there's one. So we've used our stamp one way. We're gonna use it another way. We're gonna stamp on this paper, which is smaller, so that it's kind of like making a custom background paper. Give it a good press again. That is going to fit in a page of our album, and it's just color on color, Magenta Madness on Magenta Madness. Okay, so super pretty there. And then let's go ahead and do our last one. And I have this paper here that's gonna layer inside our book. So it's gonna make kind of the page inside here, but it's wider than the stamp. So we're going to use our stamp artistically as an offset. So I'm gonna line my paper up here and just magnet that down. When you're using your Stamparatus, remember these magnets are super strong. If you get them too close to each other, they will snap together and you don't want your finger in there. So just be aware of where they are. And also, I just made little washi tape flags for mine. So it's one piece of washi tape that just goes around like that, which makes it really easy to pick up. So, all right, so then I'm gonna flip this over and stamp there, maybe a little less overlap, stamp on the edge. And so you can see here in a second, sorry for all the turniness. You can see how pretty that is, again, color on color. And then it's going to layer inside our book perfectly so that it, honestly, it just looks like that was kind of our intention, right? To have this offset design. So let's go ahead and adhere this one. Again, I'm gonna use multi-purpose liquid glue for this because it's really strong. Tear tape would be good, or Seal Plus would also be a good choice. And make sure I face this the right direction. But the other thing that this does, especially because the designer series paper is not 100% as strong as cardstock, adding this cardstock layer here just helps to firm up the cover of your whole book. So your whole book is a lot sturdier for having this layer inside the cover. You could do the front too if you wanted to, but we have a different decorative plan for here that includes that bling embellishment. So, all right, remember I said to save all of your pieces. So I have some strips that are cut here, and they are from different patterns in the paper. There's all three represented right there. So the hand pen paper has, I think, 4 sheets each of 3 different patterns on the front and another 3 different patterns on the back. So you have good choices. And we are going to go ahead and start adding some of these in as decorative layers. So let's go ahead, let's see. I think I like this one here for the front. So you just mix and match and decide, and you can vary your widths or you could make them all the same. But basically, you have all these like extra scrap paper that you can use to decorate your album different ways, okay? We're gonna come back to this page for more bling also. Let's see, let's put a paper here inside. So I'm just using the same multi-purpose liquid glue for these again. Okay, attach that there. And then let's do one here. And so this is gonna be contrast, so I don't wanna glue paper on paper the same. So we'll add a contrast strip here. All right, and then inside our book, let's go ahead and add our big panel of the butterflies. So this panel is cut a little smaller. I think it's probably 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 because that's a really efficient way to use your paper. And that's gonna layer right in here, okay? But we still have to bring back those butterflies, these gorgeous ones that we stamped and are going to die cut in one big swipe. So let me grab my stamp and cut. All right, and bring this in here. Actually, I'm gonna move this out of the way because it slides so much. Okay, so I've got my butterflies here. I'm gonna lay them on my sandwich. If you haven't used this a bunch, here's sort of another, maybe you can see a little bit more of it there. When you haven't used it a bunch, you're gonna remember that you want the extra pad here. That is the thin die adapter, and then a cutting plate, and then your, I got my finger caught, then your stamps on top. Now, I'm gonna use a piece of washi tape. I've got this pretty well set. One of the advantages of the washi tape is if your plates are a little bit warped like mine are, it really just helps things to stay in place, even if they're warped. So I've got that set there, and I'm gonna run this through, and then let's see, crank it through. And when it comes out the other side, you're gonna see that it is got all these fabulous, get those out of the way again. All of these fabulous butterflies here are cut and ready to use on our book. So what looked like, oh my gosh, a stamp cut, stamp cut, stamp cut is actually a really simple, pop those out and have your butterflies all ready to use on your project. So the only choice you have, the only thing you have to do now is decide which panels to put them in. So, all right, so let's come back. I think we're gonna save a couple for the front. I'm gonna save this one and this one for the front. And then I'm going to come back and start adding them on the inside. So we'll leave this panel clean for those embellishments. We're gonna open this up and I'm gonna pop one here. Now, if you're like me and you're making this photo book, it's for photos, right? Different photos to put in. If you're like me and you're making it without already having your photos printed, one of the things that you can do is to just put adhesive in strategic places. So I'm not gonna put adhesive across this whole butterfly. I'm just gonna put it under one wing of this butterfly. So now it would be really easy to slide a photo under here, and then I can go back and add another dimensional here when I want it, okay? Let's see, if I flip this up, I have this panel here. Let's go ahead and put a butterfly on here. So again, I'm gonna put it sort of at the upper corner so that it's not, you know, limiting my choices later on where I put things. And then let's go ahead and open up here, and I'm gonna put this guy here. And I feel like I missed, oh, okay. I'm gonna put this guy here. So let's pop another dimensional on him. And then, oh my goodness. Okay, and then I could always turn that. Now remember, if you decide you want this in a different place, you can easily remove these. You're not gonna peel up because you don't want to peel and bend your butterfly. You're just gonna twist. And so all I'm doing is twisting, and you can see how easy that was to shear off. Of course, then you ruin the dimensional. You have to add another one to put it back on. So lesson there, but now you'll know how to get those easily repositioned. Okay, and then let's put, we have one extra, so let's put this one here. Okay, thanks, Gail. I'm glad you like this one. And there we go, okay. All right, so now we have our panels. We need to decorate our front, so we're gonna have a cover for our book. So let's go ahead and bring in here, you guys know that Stitch So Sweetly is one of my top favorite die sets. Some fun shapes and then staples. The scallop rectangle is just my go-to for lots of different things. So it's actually so much my go-to that I own 2 of them because I use them a lot for prepping projects. So the stamps we're gonna use for this then, we're gonna stick with grayscale. So I'm gonna use my basic gray and my tuxedo black. And I'm gonna use sort of the same strategy that I did on a card recently here. So with my hello friend, so kind of an offset. This is another Loven Stamps Maker Mornings with Meg. So you can look for that card in the shadows there if you're interested in that technique. But let's go ahead and stamp these. So I'm gonna stamp my hello here. And I don't actually want basic gray. I want smoky slate so that it's a little bit lighter. Let's see. So let's get this stamped off. You can see how dark that is. And actually, I should probably clean my stamp. Where's my scrub? There we go. Because that basic gray is pretty dark and I don't really want to get that ink into my smoky slate light art pad. Okay, so now basic gray out of the way, I'm going to use smoky slate, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp hello kind of up here in the corner. And then I would recommend kind of like planning this out. So if you want to, like, you know, stamp yourself some sample ones, there you go, that's what grid paper is great for. Then you can always like test, where do you want these to overlap? There's certainly lots of good choices. You could have it overlap here, you could write on the words, you could have it, you know, offset to the side and overlap the words. You could choose not to offset it very much, so I can do it like that. And since we have a fair amount of space here, I'm gonna go ahead and pick that last one, and I'm gonna just set it down and to the side a little bit so that that gives us just a little bit more coverage with our greeting. And I do adore this stamp set. It's called Biggest Wish because it matches everything with all of the 2 fonts that are included. You really have run the gamut of a really wide array of choices. And I just saw this tiny little stamp here. I've never used it, but it's coming out right now because I feel like it would really sort of give us some excellent background decor here. And so I'm gonna grab this. Okay, I find with plus signs that I like to kind of line them up sort of vertically and horizontally. So we'll see how I do in that, but I'm gonna give this just a little bit of background. Maybe I'll turn this one so they're in a little different conformation. There we go. Okay, I kind of like that. All right, but we're gonna leave some room because we want to have a place to put our butterflies that we've saved. So here are our butterflies. Okay, we're gonna pop them on like this. But I feel like I want, an anchoring element. And usually one of the things that I love is to add sort of a strip of paper that goes across. And so I have this rose gold paper here that comes from the gold and rose gold. If you're like, Meg, where is that paper from? I've never seen that. Well, first of all, the link is in the video description. So you can check that there. But it is in the annual catalog and it is beautiful. So it took me a little while to find it because it's kind of hidden on the side, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut us a strip of this. And it's also got really kind of a fun texture. It's like metallic-y. So, all right, so then this is going to go underneath here like that to just sort of give our element sort of an extra like home on the page, okay? So we're connecting things. And it's also sort of a nice light version or light iteration of that pink, that magenta madness. So it gives us a little bit of connection, I think, between the 2 the pink and the gray and white. So, all right, so we're gonna pop that there. And I didn't actually mean to put it up so high, but that's where it is now. So I'm going to pop this on now. And I'm keeping this stuff flat. This is a, kind of fun thing you might want to keep in your purse or, pull out. You could stamp anything on the front of it. It could be a thinking of you card or for a relative or grandparent or anybody. And then we're going to go ahead and add our butterflies on here. And those I am going to go ahead and put on with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So let's pull these here. And these, I'll put a couple more on because I'm not going to add a photo to the front. So I want these to just be sort of their final stuck down selves. All right. And then I promised you guys some bling. So we're gonna do our bling here. Now, I was trying to decide what kind of bling to add to our card. And the first thing came to mind because of the black and white was the black matte dots. Let's see. Thanks, Michelle. I'm glad you like it. And Jeanne, you're welcome for the tutorial. Kim says that she's going to make one for her mom and loved butterflies and flowers. Aw, this will be a big hit for her then. And let's see. All right, so I was thinking bling. The matte black dots are great as like an embellishment, but they don't, I don't know, they don't jump as much. And then I thought, wait a minute, what about the pastel pearls? Well, they're not really the right color. I mean, I guess I could put that light pink on there and it would be really pretty, but hold the phone because we have Magenta Madness Stampin' Blends, which gives us a chance to make custom dots in exactly the color that we want. So I'm gonna use the darker one and I am going to just go around the blend or the piece right here on the sheet. And these are alcohol markers, so they will dry on non-porous surfaces like your pastel pearls. So check that color out. I don't know, can you guys see that? I don't know if it's focused that close, but absolutely beautiful. And Sue said, yes, great for wedding photos. Yeah, absolutely. And the butterflies and flowers are great for that kind of theme too. All right, I'm giving them a second to dry so that they don't just pop off on my fingers. And I'm gonna go ahead and transfer them now to our sheet. So they pair very nicely with the elements from the stamp set that we've already kind of added on there. So I'm gonna pop those on like that, all right? So now, let's see, I think we're gonna color 2 more because I want to do one more little embellishment for the inside. So I'm gonna color 2 more and then turn these to the inside and on our first page. Now, depending on what you're gonna do with this, you want to think a little about where you are going to where you're gonna put your embellishments, because if you put bumpy things on the inside, like these extra pearls, they could damage the front of your book if this is getting smashed really flat. So if this is like a hand present kind of thing, then probably not a big deal. But I'm gonna pop 2 of these on here just to have a little bit of extra blinginess there on the inside of our book, okay? So a really fun project. A great way to showcase photos, or you can even write multiple pages. You can have, you know, greetings or different elements on each thing, but a great photo project. Here is the one that I showed the other day, so you can check this version out. And again, this is in the tutorials that are included. If you place any order with me in September, then you get this and 3 other projects as a PDF tutorial that's easy to print at home and have on hand. If you like the idea of recreating something, then this is another lesson on how to just sort of switch out the materials and adapt them for what you have on hand or the theme or colors, etc. that you're using, okay? So here is our finished butterfly book. All right, so what do you guys think? Could it be any simpler to stamp once and cut once and get 6 butterflies? I do love these. Somebody said that they were gonna go ahead and just get cut a bunch of butterflies to have on hand. And my answer to that is absolutely, I do that. Here's my butterflies that I've cut and have on hand. So keep those maybe in a clear, this is a clear envelope. I'm gonna Stampin' Up! Clear envelopes. I keep those in here so that they don't get damaged by the stamp, right? You wanna keep them protected. So a really fun and easy way to do this. So for your Friday, thanks guys. Margie says she colors her embellishments all the time. I'm glad you guys like this one. Let's see. Yeah, and Lisa says she's gonna make one. Teresa, so pretty. I don't know what you guys are up to this weekend, but here is a possible project idea. And actually on my blog, I also shared last weekend like a top 10 crafting ideas. So you go to lovenstamps.com and check my blog. You can look back and get some other inspiration possibly for your weekend. So I will be watching the marching band at our festival, which will be a lot of fun, and cross-country meet on Saturday, and just all kinds of fun adventures for our weekend. So I'm sure I will enjoy those and have a great weekend too. But if you're looking for crafting things, definitely consider this album as one of the really fun things to do with any designer series paper, so that you can just really show it off, have both sides of your paper show, and enjoy it. So grayscale with a pop of color is always a hit. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this Friday morning or whenever you're watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. Make sure that you click to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and links are in the video description for products in case you need supplies. So I appreciate all your orders, and we will be getting tutorials out shortly for orders already in September. So thank you guys. All right, happy stamping, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys back on Monday.